Hey, what is going on, guys? XpertFusion here, and today I'm going to be giving you guys my review to The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 1, which is titled A New Beginning. So, I gotta say, this episode was incredible. Incredible premiere. I mean, it did exactly what a premiere is supposed to do. You know, it wasn't action-packed or crazy or any major scenes or anything like that, but it was bringing us back into the Walking Dead universe by doing certain things like character building, by showing us what they've been doing, especially after a time skip. Now, there's different types of premieres. There's the premieres after time skips, and then there's premieres that come directly after a finale. The premieres that come directly after a finale should usually be very much different in terms of how they work. They should be more, intense. There should be more important scenes going on. Like, for example, the Season 7 premiere, that came directly after Season 6 finale. Therefore, it was more impactful and more important to what was going around, because it wasn't trying to bring us back into the universe, trying to bring us back into how the characters are, what they've been doing, stuff like that. That's not what it was trying to do. It's bringing us into kind of a new part of the story, but this is completely different because this feels like a whole new series, which, look, I don't think is a bad thing, but I don't think what people are trying to make it out to be is kind of a negative way. So I've been seeing a lot of good reviews, which is great. I'm happy to see positivity throughout the Walking Dead community. That's something we don't really get that often. But the biggest issue I'm having with how the community's taking it is the fact that they're saying past 2 seasons suck. They're saying Angela Kang renewed the show. They're saying she made it so it's not bad anymore, stuff like that. And I just disagree with all of that. Now, Angela Kang, she's doing a great job. I'm not going to deny that. I think she's written some pretty solid episodes in the past, and I think her as a showrunner, she can do some good work easily. But I think people saying Scott Gimple is trash and that he's never done anything good for the show is just the biggest bullshit I've ever heard. I mean, you just look at the episodes Scott Gimple's written. He's written some of the greatest episodes in the series. So you mean to tell me he has not done anything good for the show is just bullshit. He'd made one decision that people don't like, which is killing off Carl, and that just aggravated everybody. But at the same time, you got to realize killing off Carl, they had a bigger vision in mind. Now, obviously, Rick leaving kind of ruined that vision a little bit, but it's not completely ruined. They can still do some stuff with it, and I'm pretty confident in how they're going to handle this. I'm still having hope that something good's going to happen with Rick. I don't know. I really have no idea what's going to happen, but let's get into the episode review. The only negatives I have for this episode, which are very minimal things, they're nothing major, would be I kind of wish we saw all the communities in this episode, because it is the premiere. I would like to see how everyone's doing, not just the communities we saw. We only really saw like 4 minutes of Alexandria, really. We didn't see much. I mean, we saw a little bit of how they're doing, but not really much. The main show was obviously Hilltop and Sanctuary. The main part of the episode was showing off what's happening at the Hilltop and Sanctuary, and of course there was the run that they were doing at the museum. We didn't see anything of Oceanside or the Kingdom, which I kind of wish we did, but at the same time, I'm sure we're going to see them within the next few episodes, so I'm not like complaining. I'm not saying this is a terrible nitpick, but it would be nice to see everything that's happening in the premiere, but I understand that they couldn't fit all that in. So that's the only complaint I have, really. Everything else was just fine. I mean, the dialogue, it was incredible, I gotta say. People have been saying that they miss normal dialogue between characters, like what people would do in real life, but you have to realize that they're settled down right now, okay? They're not in a time of war, they're not in a time of crisis, so obviously the conversations they have with each other are going to be more, they're going to be more like real humans have today in real life. They're going to be more humane, right? But in season 8 and 7, they're in the middle of a war, right? They're in war. They're not going to be having these nice conversations in the middle of war, even though they sometimes do every now and then when it comes to the less serious episodes. But like season 8, for example, was just non-stop war. I know people didn't like season 8, but I like that. I liked having a whole war go on throughout the entirety of the season. It was something different, and I think this season is presenting something completely different as well. I don't think it's the fact that we have a new showrunner that's making it seem better. I think it's just the fact that people enjoy when the characters are, happier and they're kind of more settled down and they're not in a war state, which I really don't understand. Personally, I enjoy seeing characters within a war-like scene. I thought All Out War was done incredibly, but I am really excited for this season because of the comic book material that we're going to see. But I just don't understand why people act like if Scott Gimple was still showrunner, he would not have done as good of a job. I think he would have done just fine. But I'm going on a tangent about Scott Gimple. I hate seeing so much hate towards him. Everything that dude says on Twitter, he gets backlash. He gets just absolute smackdown with backlash. I'm just like, dude, just shut up. Just leave the man alone. There's no reason to be harassing a dude like that just because he made a decision that people don't like. It's ridiculous. I mean, Angela Kang might make decisions that people aren't going to like in the future, and you have to deal with that because she's the writer. She's the one who's in control, like Scott Gimple was. If you don't like it, fine, don't watch it. You're not forced to watch it, you know. I do like a lot of the conversations we had between characters. A lot of the Rick and Michonne stuff was great, of course. I liked how Daryl and Carol had that like talk. I mean, a lot of people think, oh, Daryl and Carol should be together, but no, Daryl and Carol have always had a brother-sister relationship. They've always had a brother-sister relationship, kind of like I care about you, you care about me, but we think it's disgusting. The thought of ever sleeping with each other is disgusting. That's basically what the relationship is. That's a brother-sister relationship. So people who always say stuff like they should get together, it's better than Ezekiel and Carol, it's just, no. I'm sorry. That's just how I see it. That's how I've always seen it. So I disagree with anybody who says stuff like that because they're just, no, it's just, you got to look at how they talk to each other. It's not a romantic couple. Not that I think Daryl is incapable of having a relationship. I just don't think he needs one. I think he's more of a to himself kind of a person. I just don't think he should ever have one, to be honest. It just wouldn't really work that well in my opinion. But I'm excited to see Daryl's character where he goes because he is going to be a character they really need to develop and really need to do stuff with because if Rick is actually going to be leaving forever, they really need to have Daryl have more important roles going on, which he always has important roles going on, but they need to make him more, not really more of a leader, but more of a leading character for the role. Not leading in the universe itself, but I mean like leading in terms of the show itself. Even though Daryl has said he doesn't want to lead the show, which I'm fine with that. I don't think Daryl should lead the show. If Rick leaves, I think they should make it kind of like a co-lead between Daryl, Carol, Michonne, and Maggie. But Maggie leaving too is also a discussion we need to have. Maggie's going to leave, but she's going to come back. I think that's kind of confirmed. She has said that she's just going for a little bit because she has to be on this other show. But she's going to come back. She's going to come back. And I'm very excited to see Maggie's character because this episode just put a goddamn nail into Maggie's character. I mean, look, we knew this was going to happen because it happened in the comics and because they had tons and tons of hints about it, but the hanging of Gregory was done so goddamn well. It was harsh. I mean, look, I understand Gregory's a terrible person. Gregory is horrible. You know, he's trying to kill Maggie like that. Obviously, he's terrible. But I think trying to execute him like that is just so brutal. And personally, if I was in Maggie's position, I wouldn't have done that because it does show, because it's not like you're showing people that this is what happens when you fuck with me, right? But the Hilltoppers, they already know that most of them already like Maggie anyways. Most of them didn't vote, against Maggie. Most of them voted for Maggie in the whole election they were talking about, which I did like the whole idea that they had an election. I think that's kind of cool, but a lot of the conversation they've been having in the episode about democracy coming back, I thought that was really interesting. And then Michonne talking about like a constitution or whatever, that's also great. I really like the fact that they're kind of bringing those talk to the show. But I think even for Maggie, that was goddamn brutal, dude. But I did like it for her character. I think her character needs to be brutal, and it's showing Rick that this is something I had to deal with. You dealt with Negan and you kept him in a cell, but this is how I'm going to deal with my problems. I'm going to kill my problems. Now, yes, I don't agree with it, but I do agree with Maggie making that decision. It fits Maggie's character, especially from her past, what's happened with Glenn and stuff like that. Fits perfectly. So I thought it was well done. I did like how they did it, how he was on a horse and they had the horse run. It was an interesting way to do it. I think it made sense, but God damn, it was brutal. I do love how they had Michonne yelling out to Maggie to stop it when the kids came over. That made so much sense, and that really worked for the scene. I like that. I like the whole atmosphere of it. I love how they got Herschel to actually look like a goddamn like an Asian because Glenn. They got a good baby for that, perfect baby, honestly. but they're obviously going to have to replace him in 5 episodes because they are going to do another time skip of 5 years, according to spoilers and such. They're doing another 5-year time skip after the 5th episode or 6th episode, something like that. So they're going to be recasting a lot of characters, which is interesting. I really am excited to see what's going to happen in episode 5, because we know episode 5 is going to be the crazy episode where something insane is going to happen, and I'm not prepared for it, but at the same time, I'm hoping it's done well. I'm hoping it's done well. I think the most of this episode, the quality was good. A lot of people saying the quality got better of the show, but I think it's just as good as it always been. I don't think the quality got better. I think it's just how they did it was a little bit better. Some of the directing was well done. I think, look, I'm not the biggest fan of shaky cam, when you can't really see what's going on, because they do that a lot. Sometimes they do really close-up shots that you kind of can't really tell what's happening. Like, for example, when the horse kicked that kid, you couldn't really tell what happened unless, you were really paying attention to where the kid was and stuff. But I think they do need to make stuff like that more clear. Even the scene when Sadiq was messing around with that spider walker, it was a little like fuzzy. You couldn't really see what was going on. But at the same time, I thought it worked perfectly. I'm nitpicking here. I think nitpicking should never be taken as an actual complaint. It's kind of just like, it could have been done better, but, it's not that big of a deal. That's what nitpicks are. I have a lot of those for everything, but it doesn't mean it actually affects that much of my enjoyment of the episode. I think a lot of the walker killing was well done. I didn't like something about season 7 and 8 specifically, which I love those seasons, don't get me wrong. But some of the stuff that I didn't like was sometimes the walker killing was really odd. Like it's like, okay, a walker, when you stab a knife into a walker's head, it should sound like you're stabbing a watermelon, like that kind of noise, right? But for some odd reason, season 7 and 8 specifically, for some reason, whenever they stabbed walkers in the head, it sounded like they were stabbing a piece of cardboard. Like, they changed how the sound works for killing walkers, and I was so confused by it. I'm like, why does it sound like they're literally stabbing a piece of cardboard? Like, does that make any sense? I don't know. I don't know if it was something wrong with the sound department. I don't really know what was going on, but they have done better in this episode. I thought the walker killing sounded just fine, which you might be like, how is that a big deal? I don't know. To me, it actually is a big deal, because that's a satisfying ass sound when you hear the whoosh, like when you slice the walker's head. It's a satisfying sound that kind of is entertaining and it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing that I think I care about a lot in the show itself, but I think they did a good job with it in this episode. I thought the sounds of killing walkers, it was well done. It was good. I have really not many complaints with this episode, and I'm really, really excited for the next one. It looks like they're going to be trying to fix the bridge for the majority of it. Obviously, problems are going to happen between the Saviors, and seems like probably Daryl and Aaron are going to get, based off the trailer, Daryl and Aaron are going to get into some problems with the Saviors, and I'm assuming they're going to be having the whole scene when they're in that little camp in the middle of the woods, and maybe we're going to see when Carol pulls the gun on that one dude, one Savior, and she pulls it back, and they're going to be fighting, and it's going to be interesting. And then I don't really know what else. I don't know if they're even going to bring in the Whisperers until after the time skip. I'm assuming we're not going to see anything about the Whisperers until after the time skip, but would be interesting if we saw. They're probably going to see a little tidbit of it in like episode 4 or 5, but at the same time, they might save that for episode 6. But yeah, I'm really excited for this season. Hopefully you guys are too. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. I'll see you guys in my next one, and peace out.